Have you ever, found yourself in a quiet room, maybe just sipping your morning tea, and that familiar feeling starts to creep in? That feeling of, well, of being alone. Now, what if I told you that feeling isn't necessarily loneliness at all? That it might be something entirely different, maybe even something incredibly powerful.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're digging into today. We're looking at the insights from the book, The Art of Being Alone. And it's not just a casual read,
Yeah.
it's almost like holding up this really profound mirror. It helps us actually tell the difference between like the discomfort of loneliness and that enriching, almost sacred space of solitude
Right.
in a world with constant pings, notifications, all the social media feeds. This book feels like like a much needed emotional detox, I think.
So our mission for this deep dive is really to unpack the core insights of this really captivating book. We want to understand why its different versions seem to resonate and how it helps us navigate what's often a very misunderstood experience, just being by yourself. What kind of nuggets of knowledge can we pull out for you, for someone looking to truly understand, maybe even, embrace being alone? Okay, so to really get this book, let's start with the basics. The title itself, The Art of Being Alone. It's pretty evocative, isn't it? And one interesting thing right off the bat is that the author isn't always the same. Some versions are specifically by Lane Moore. Others are more like general essays or guides, but under that same title.
Yeah, that's true. But regardless of the specific author, it firmly sits in that, self-help, psychology, personal development space. And what's intriguing is how consistent the core themes are across these different versions. They all get into solitude, self-love, mental health, emotional healing, independence, that sort of thing. The book really tries to position itself as this comforting companion if you're looking for inner peace or just trying to understand yourself a bit better.
So the book's central idea, it feels like more than just a definition. It's like an invitation to shift your whole perspective. It pushes us to look beyond just the absence of other people and instead focus on the presence of yourself in those moments. It reframes that quiet time not as this empty void, but as a deliberate act of connecting with yourself, almost like tending your own inner garden.
Exactly.
It feels like we're constantly getting messages about how important external connections are. How does this book specifically help us sort of deconstruct that societal pressure we feel about needing others all the time?
Well, it really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? How much do these societal norms actually like glamorize relationships?
Yeah.
And by doing that, they kind of stigmatize solitude. The book powerfully challenges that ingrained idea. It breaks down the stereotype that your happiness has to come from a romantic partner or just constant companionship. It's almost like society sees someone alone, maybe enjoying a quiet evening, and the immediate thought is, oh, poor thing, they must be lonely. This book just cuts right through that assumption.
Yeah, and this powerful message completely flips that script. It says solitude is not a void. It's not a sign you're broken or unloved.
Mm.
Instead, it's presented as this almost sacred space for growth, for reflection, for creativity. It's a total reevaluation of being by yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so beyond these really profound insights, what seems to set this book apart is how it talks about them. The review we looked at highlights the writing style. It's warm, vulnerable, sometimes even poetic, but also raw and unfiltered.
Hmm.
It sounds like it genuinely feels like talking to a friend, someone who's been through some tough stuff and come out stronger.
That's absolutely true. The book is brilliant at capturing and, importantly, validating those quiet moments we often overlook, like, just sipping tea alone or taking a walk without headphones blasting or even just letting yourself cry without feeling guilty about it. It takes these moments and turns them into affirmations of emotional strength,
Right.
which then makes you ask yourself, how often do we really allow ourselves those moments
Right.
without feeling this need to fill the silence or, distract ourselves somehow?
And it's in acknowledging those quiet moments that the book delivers some of its most, well, resonant lines. There's one quote that really captures this shift in perspective. It really stuck with me. Being alone with yourself is not the punishment. It is the lesson.
Mm,
Wow. That's a powerful reframing, isn't it? And challenging one, too.
definitely.
So moving from that emotional resonance to the more practical side of things, it sounds like some versions of The Art of Being Alone, especially the ones maybe set up like workbooks, actually offer tangible, actionable tools.
Absolutely. And these practical tools are, well, they're really helpful. They help you actively engage with your own healing process. It's not just about reading the words. So, for example, you might find journaling prompts like, what does loneliness teach me? Or affirmations, things like, I am enough, even when I am alone.
Practical stuff.
Yeah, and some versions guide you through mindfulness techniques or visualization practices. Like there's stuff about reconnecting with your inner child, that part of us that often holds on to earlier experiences, earlier emotions. It helps to gently heal some of those past traumas, maybe repattern emotional dependency.
Okay.
So all these tools together, they help in building a stronger sense of self, understanding attachment better, and ultimately learning how to let go.
That makes sense. It sounds like a really holistic approach then.
So, thinking about who would really get something out of this deep dive into the art of being alone, well, the list is actually pretty diverse. It seems to resonate deeply with people going through tough life transitions, breakups, divorce, maybe grief.
Yeah, I can see that.
And it's definitely a powerful read for introverts, people who want to confidently embrace their natural inclination for solitude. Also, for anyone who feels kind of caught in patterns of codependent relationships.
What do you mean exactly by codependent in this context?
Well, where maybe one person excessively relies on another for their emotional needs or their sense of self-worth. It helps untangle some of that. It also really speaks to people feeling overwhelmed by all the social media pressure, that constant push to belong.
Yeah.
And of course, anyone who's actively on some kind of healing journey or a self-love journey.
Right, so it's clearly targeting a very broad audience. It speaks to so many different points in life. Which means this deep dive could be incredibly relevant for you right now listening to this. It might spark some of those aha moments about your own experiences, your relationship with solitude.
Now, while it is a powerful read, it's also fair to acknowledge, what could be better in some versions. For someone who's already pretty familiar with self-help concepts, there might be a bit of repetition, especially around that core distinction between loneliness and solitude. If you've read a lot in this area, some parts might feel a little, I don't know, rehashed or maybe less groundbreaking.
And that's a great point because it connects to the different styles too, right? Some editions lean more into the emotional storytelling, which is fantastic for reflection, for validating feelings, while others offer more actionable, sort of direct advice. So it's important for you, the listener, to know what you're looking for. Do you want that deep, reflective, emotional insight, or are you after practical, step-by-step strategies? Okay, so wrapping this up. What does this all mean? Our final verdict on The Art of Being Alone, considering everything, is a strong 4.5 out of 5 stars.
It really does feel like a heart-soothing read. It doesn't try to fix you. Instead, it helps you accept yourself right where you are.
Exactly, and the shift it promotes is, well, it's profound. It's not about pulling away from the world entirely. It's more about learning to actually love your own company so deeply that you stop fearing being alone.
That's a huge shift. It is. And crucially, it doesn't shame your pain. It acknowledges it. It sort of holds it with you until you feel ready to let it go. It's a really powerful reclaiming of the self. It shows that solitude can be, well, truly sacred, not just silent suffering.
So a final thought to leave you with. In a world that's constantly pushing for connection, more connection, what would it look like for you to truly reclaim your own solitude? Not as something to endure, but as a source of real strength, maybe even creativity. What lesson might being alone with yourself be trying to teach you right now?